We're starting off high.
We can get
I
a
think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust a human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a human to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I'm your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
Hello.
Hello there.
hello there again.
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Still
All right.
waking up, you know.
You gotta get that Friday night nap.
That's a waste of time.
Not for me, it's not. It's
Listen,
20 and I'm
that's
ready
just
to go.
That's just foreplay in the bed. 20 minutes. You know, that's just me rolling around, moving my legs, trying to find my spot. I need a good
Man.
nap.
I hear you. No, and already got some in the chat. We got the REITs out there saying we're waiting. Okay, all right. You know, sometimes it takes a minute. And then Malk saying I need to hop on Elden Ring with y'all.
Oh yeah, I'll be on there. I'm not gonna lie. I just I fell in love with that game.
Did you really?
Yeah, I don't know, and it's not even my style. Still to this day, I would not consider it something I would normally like.
So it is one of those like rhythm combat games, right? So it's a Dark Souls game. And like I think I'm too old to parry is what it is. I can do it in fight games and I can block in fight games. But as soon as you do like swords and like that kind of stuff, like I feel like I just spend the entire time dodging and I never land any strikes. And I know that game you have to be patient, but no. But I can imagine if you're doing it with others and you're dropping into one another's game that's easier because you got more people in the fight.
Sometimes I actually prefer to go at it by myself.
Do you?
Yeah, like I like dropping into other people's games, but I don't really, because when you're fighting a boss and the more people you bring in, the more hits he can take.
Gotcha. His hit points go up.
Right. And then with other people, when I'm fighting a boss, it kind of throws my rhythm off.
Okay. Because there's somebody interrupting your stuff.
Right. I was about to go in and do that, but then that happened, so now I gotta wait a little bit longer till I
hear you.
But it's a good game. It's a good game. I need to start expanding my horizons a bit more. Or maybe not to, jump straight to the topic. Maybe this is altered timeline.
Altered timeline Cliff. He's more into the the RPGs and the sci-fi.
Yeah. Old timeline Cliff is not having that. I don't even want to watch it. But I will say whoever made that game's definitely on an acid trip.
Oh, no doubt.
I don't know. I'm not going to say that.
I mean, it's weird because it is an overworld, but it almost feels like it's afterlife type stuff, right? Like, because you start off the game coming back from the dead.
Right.
And there's a bunch of games like that. Kingdoms of Amalur does that too. And that game is much more my speed.
I don't know. I don't know that I know that.
It was a role-playing game that went largely kind of under the radar, but was in kind of the same era as like the Fable games on Xbox.
Okay. Now, the only thing that still, I wouldn't be playing this game if it was just dropping co-op.
Gotcha.
The only thing that really drives me about it is that Coliseum.
Okay.
I like fighting other people, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm really just running through the game trying to level my guy up to get to the Coliseum.
Gotcha.
So, unless there's some...
So is that like I assume that's the like PvP arena where you can battle other players? Okay.
Uh-huh.
See, I never even made it that far. I got frustrated not being able to get past. It was either the first or the second boss, and I was just like, I can't do this. I can't.
Persistence is key.
I understand, and I know in games like that you need to grind and level up, and honestly that shit bores me when I get trapped into cycles like that. Like,
right.
Honestly, that's half the reason why I've walked away from Final Fantasy games when I've done it, is I didn't want to go back and have to like grind to be able to beat the final boss, and I was just like, well, I'm sure we win.
Get that, you get that dopamine rush when you do.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, and I will say, the new Star Wars game, the Jedi Survivor, played that, and that one I think they eased up the mechanics a bit, and so it wasn't as hard as the first one, which meant that I enjoyed it more.
Yeah, like, I need a new For Honor or something.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that game, like, it just didn't have the replayability. Like, I feel like we played it for a little bit, and even you and I played it together a little bit, but, like, it felt like it just kind of fell off quick, because there's not, I don't know, there's nothing driving that repeat play.
I mean, the online, I didn't even really play the story modes like that.
But that's what I mean, like, even that.
You said it got old after a while?
Yeah. Or at least, maybe that was just me, but...
I mean, they were unlocking shit. Like, they had a nice run of, like, unlocking a different player every month or something like that.
So was it new players, or was it just like new cosmetics for them? Like that?
No, it was new players altogether with different fighting styles and all that.
So maybe I just
fell off
early on it.
Yeah, and I know they have been doing like the what's it called packs, like the
DLC or whatever.
Yeah, and like with the new game, like it's like a new story mode and a new set of fighters or something like that.
All right, so that may be worth a revisit then. Really, I've got my gaming fix for, well, I don't know. I thought Jedi Survivor was going to be my fix for a couple of weeks, and I beat that fucking thing in like 4 days. So,
for real? Is it a small game, a short game?
It is. Like, there's a ton of like side quest stuff that I'm still doing after I beat the main game. But with games like that if it's not a true role-playing game where like your decisions can impact the outcome, or if you do certain side quests it changes the end, like if it's not that, I pretty much play through the main story and finish it.
Right.
Like, I don't do a lot of the side quest stuff along the way. If the game keeps my attention, I'll go back and do some of the side quest stuff. But like that game in particular, it just, the story is very linear to begin with, meaning it just goes straight forward. And it doesn't really encourage you to go off on like side adventures or side quests. And so I pretty much played straight through it. But yeah, I don't know. That was a good one. But the new Zelda, the new Breath of the Wild just dropped this week. and I didn't realize it till tonight, and so it's downloading right now, which is probably why the screen's jumping, is because the internet's doing too many things. But here we are.
You said Zelda.
Yep. Tears
Tears
of the Kingdom.
Like, I know it's not like 16-bit looking.
Oh no! Like Breath of the Wild was I mean, it was almost movie quality CGI. So the last one that came out on Switch was pretty solid. It was a Game of the Year game, and the new one just dropped this week, I think. So I haven't tapped into it yet, but I'm sure that's how I'll be spending my evenings this upcoming week once we get through this weekend. So, yep. And then I'm trying to think what else. Oh, after you said something about it last time, I did grab UFC 4 because it was free on Game Pass. And took my dude straight to the top in the light heavyweight division. Won the title. Defended it 5 times. Went up a weight class. Beat the heavyweight champ. I think I have it on like the medium difficulty though, so I'll have to kind of up it and see how it goes. Dude,
I haven't played the career.
No, you haven't.
See, I might have to.
I like doing the career just to get familiar with it again. And then on top of that, like learning any of the new mechanics or the new like, little things. I did go back and I flipped it back to the legacy grapple system. You
can do that?
Yeah, because I did not like the new grapple system. It was too simplistic. I'm like, this is taking away like everything that I enjoyed about the old UFC games. Because you know me, I'm taking you to the ground and I'm grounded and pounded and looking for submission in those games.
I don't like how they do the submissions either.
Yeah. They're almost... I feel like they're more simplistic than they were.
Right. I don't know.
And it's not just like a button click anymore now. You got to do a little bit to get into the submission, but... I think
it's some weird though, but it's not a bad game.
No,
I'm really waiting on them to hurry up and get to working on this fight night.
Yeah. Well, did your other one ever come out?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
I don't know what they got going on.
That's a shame. Well, isn't college football supposed to be back this year too?
I thought, man, college football. We don't know when that's coming back.
Gotcha. I had heard 2023 at one point, but that was a while
did too.
ago. I mean,
I did.
They still got a couple of months. The problem is they got rid of. They're not doing E3 again, so we'll have to keep an eye out for. I'm betting EA does their own event.
Why don't they do E3 anymore?
Honestly, because I think enough of the big companies were doing their own thing anyways. Like Microsoft does their own. PlayStation, kind of Sony does their own. Electronic Arts is probably the only other one that's big enough to warrant it. And then Nintendo, obviously. But I think they just did Nintendo's like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really, keep track of all that.
No, I know. And honestly, I don't keep track of it as much as I used to because it used to be you only had to pay attention to 1 week a year. You watched E3, and Sony would have a day, and Nintendo would have a day, and Microsoft would have a day, and you'd get all the video game news kind of dropped at once. And then like BioWare and Bethesda would have presentations in that too. Now it's all over the place. I did see, so obviously still on the job hunt, Bungie actually had a couple of project management roles open, so I applied for those.
For real?
Yeah.
Got to.
I mean, chances of getting anything like that is probably slim, but it was like, all right. I mean, I might as well throw my name in. Never know what happens.
Never know. Ain't no point in not.
Right.
All I can say is no.
Right. Which I've gotten real used to at this point. It's all good.
Listen.
All right. Well, we went off on a tangent. You got any inadvertence to get us keep us going?
I don't know that I have any. I don't know that I have any at, let's say, at the moment.
Okay.
I got a couple things I was thinking about, but I don't know quite how to frame it.
Gotcha. Nah, I get that.
So we'll see if the
main
episode inspires a way for me to get it out.
Okay. All right, well, we can jump into the main topic,
Yeah.
and this kind of ties back to something I think we talked about probably about a month ago. But I've been seeing it more and more lately, and I don't know how I found myself on this side of TikTok. But
I knew when you sent me that.
This whole timeline jumping thing, man. Like, one of them, and I think I sent you one recently that was like, where's your heart, Cliff? Where did you learn that your heart was growing up?
Well, right. I heard it. I learned it was on your left, the left side of your body.
Right.
Now,
Not directly behind the sternum. It was a little offset over here, right?
Right. And I did also hear that it was more closer to the middle.
Okay.
A while ago.
Yeah. But was it after they turned on the Hadron Collider?
No. So here's my thing, right? Here's my thing. Is all these X-rays, ultrasounds, MRIs, and everything you got, how the fuck don't you know where the heart is?
Right.
How the fuck don't you know where it's at?
We've been cutting people open since the early, 1200s.
Come on, man. That don't make sense. And now all of a sudden that motherfucker moving inside of us?
I mean, I guess you could point to evolution, but that doesn't seem to track. And I'm curious to see if the REITs hops in on this at all. But, yeah, and you know, that one, I don't know. To your point, I always knew that it was close to the center, right? I do think I was taught it was more to the left because we were always taught to put your hand across your heart over here, right?
Right.
Now, the other ones,
all the fucking movies that were out, you got shot in the left chest.
Right.
And a motherfucker
that was a kill shot.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is that the Large Hadron Collider was first turned on in 2008.
That might track.
Right. And what else happened in 2008?
I don't know what.
We got our first black president. I'm just saying.
Hey, they just switched the BT timeline. That's how that was.
So that's one. I mean, a lot of the other stuff ties to like the Mandela effect, and a lot of the things that I see on the Mandela effect are like brand names and brand logos. And in my mind, like that's stuff that could change, right? Like that stuff evolves. No, very few companies' logos are still what they were 20 years ago, outside of Nike. So that one I find less credence in terms of that being proof of anything. But you do have stuff like the Berenstain Bears instead of Stein Bears. What was the other one? There's a couple of other ones that are more around like kids' books and that kind of stuff. Does Curious George have a tail?
I mean, I could have swore he did, but I know he doesn't now.
So, like stuff like that, I think can evolve over time. But it is little stuff like that. It does make me wonder. Like, it's weird that the examples that get used outside of Nelson Mandela himself seem to be like relatively inconsequential shit.
Say more.
Meaning, like, it's not like we're not remembering big historical events the same way.
Right.
So
Okay.
if we were really jumping timelines, like, I feel like there would be historical events that just don't seem right.
Like if Kennedy was on an island with Tupac.
Right. Or the order of the towers when they fell was flipped or something like that. Or that there was another plane that went down that no one talks about because no one else remembers it. Like, stuff like that is interesting, but you don't hear examples like that. Like, it's always something
like a
from
cereal box.
Right, a cereal box or a brand name or like a Star Wars movie, and I'm like, George Lucas has been editing the Star Wars movies since like leading up until the day he sold it to Disney. So that doesn't mean anything to me.
So are you saying that we're in the same timeline and I just like nerd shit now?
Yeah, I am. You've grown, Cliff. You've just matured.
I don't have a problem with that.
But it does.
I don't have a problem with that.
It does make me think about like stuff in our lifetime. Like, what are events that could have not happened? Or
wait, what?
What are
Wait,
like
what?
what are like the key things in our lifetime that we could have seen turn out differently? I don't know, but that's where my mind goes when I see some of these timeline jumping things.
Like, I think, but
Pac
maybe
really is alive. He's out there. Machiavelli.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that statement kind of makes me feel like you're thinking a change of a timeline would also change the situation.
Say more.
Like, I don't think it's a situation where if it's led by the Hadron Collider that it just turns on, and instead of me waking up here, I wake up in a mansion because I actually, did stay fighting or doing whatever I had to do. Like, I think you're still on your same timeline. It's just changing things about
elements
you
in it
specifically. Yeah, and like what's going on, Now, that's not to say that new timeline won't lead you down a better or worse path, possibly, but I don't think it's so different that you're a completely different version of yourself.
So it's a branch, but it's a pretty close parallel branch.
Right. It would have to be, right? Because otherwise, I doubt we would skip, I doubt that them turning it on would like jump shit like checkers. We probably just bump into what's next to us and shit gets skewed.
Another timeline where the Hadron Collider was turned on.
Now that kind of immediately leads me to believe that we could be skipping.
Yeah.
That it's possible to jump like checkers. Because if this one wasn't turning shit on and this one was, but this one way over here was as well, it may be something that just shoots up and connects the two, and you know what I'm saying?
Brings them closer together. I mean, that was kind of the theory. And did you ever watch, and if you haven't, you should go back, and now that you're a sci-fi fan. Did you ever watch Fringe?
Nah.
So Fringe was kind of like that in the sense that at one point, and I think it's in season 2 or season 3, they breached the walls with a parallel dimension, and the parallel world is a little bit more advanced than we are in some ways, but behind us in other ways. Like the premier mode of transportation in the parallel world is blimps. Because they never used hydrogen blimps, they only used helium, which is less combustible.
All right.
And so you never had like the explosions with the dirigibles or whatever. And so thinking about it from that perspective, again, there's not anything that's a major shift in like kind of worldwide technology, but to your point, we could jump to something that's closer to ours, and it's just these little things that are
Right.
off. Okay.
Right. And it may not even be so much physical things, because shit's been weird for a little bit now.
Yeah.
And motherfuckers been blaming it on the what is it? Retrograde, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, but nah, something funny's going on. And it's in the air.
Yeah. I can get behind that. I mean, it does, and it kind of ties back to the books we've talked about, that kind of stuff. Like, it does feel like we're on the precipice as a civilization, as a worldwide, global civilization. Like,
Right.
We are one event away from dipping to one side or the other. Whether that's a World War III type situation that sends us into apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic, or something good happening where we come together, which feels really outside of the realm of possibility at this point.
Nah, I don't see that.
No, I think we've talked about the only way we come together as a world civilization. Threat from aliens.
I don't even know if that's possible.
I mean, we're clearly not on the same page when it comes to like natural disasters and things like that. Although, I don't know, you do see the world come together a little bit after a natural disaster, at least for a short amount of time.
And even the threat of aliens, I don't know that would fix anything either.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to sound so pessimistic, right? But when you think about it, it's almost like a we'll deal with each other later situation.
I hear what you're saying there.
And unless, because eventually it's going to go back to a power structure, and which power structure, or which, race, tribe, religion, whatever we're rocking with at the point has the best power structure after it's all said and done.
Right.
So we would either have to be in forever war with those aliens, or once they defeat, because in this hypothetical, I would imagine we would have to defeat them to come together. But once that took place, it would eventually down the road get back to where it was.
Right. And at that point, what's left is probably military might. And do you find yourself in then like a worldwide, I don't know, dictatorship, military control, martial law, that type of scenario?
I would say so.
And I recently,
it's very hard not to be, unless it was a situation, right? The only way that works, because see, it's who is it? Israel or somebody like that, where everybody has to serve in the military, even the women.
Yep.
At one point in life. I feel like that would be the only way that it wouldn't be, right? Because what you're doing is, even though you're training these people to be able to defend yourself, you're also training these people to be able to defend themselves.
Yeah, true.
So you can't just come in here doing that, because you have trained killers across the country that if they decide to take up arms, you're going to have a problem on your hands as well.
Right. At that point, you've trained your own demise in theory. Unless of course it comes back to technological might and not just people, because then whoever owns the technology, whoever has access to the technology, that's your problem.
We already coming into that situation. It's all these jobs that's going up,
AI and all that stuff.
And I'm saying, like, what do you expect somebody to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They say that you back a cat in the corner, and that's going to be one of the most dangerous things that you had to deal with.
Oh, no doubt.
So I'm not empathizing with people who commit these crimes. I'm just saying, how don't you get it? How don't you get it? You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm with you.
That's just wild. And not anything specifically, because I still can't wrap around my head around the school shit. Like, it just doesn't make sense why that would be a target at all.
Right.
Because those are children, and even the adults in that building are commendable for even wanting to try to
that field,
beat
right?
Them little bastards. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, I have a lot more respect for teachers than I do cops. And right now we're asking them to be both, so
yeah, damn near. Yeah, I don't disagree. But yeah, I mean, regardless, so maybe that's another thing that kind of defers me a bit from the timeline shit at the moment, because it's like maybe it's not something in the air.
Maybe it's just what we are.
Not even what we are. Maybe this is just like where we've come.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of cats that are in corners at the moment in this country. And that's why it feels like we're on the brink of something coming up, because tensions are high at the moment. People can't support themselves.
Right.
And it's becoming less and less available for people to support themselves.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to make a decision. Are you going to eat or are you going to starve?
Right. And your options to be able to fulfill those or fulfill the eat dwindle. Yeah. No, absolutely.
That's why I would imagine if you was going, before you would ever shoot up a school, rob a bank.
Right. What happened to the bank robber days?
Rob a bank.
Or jewelry store or
Come
something.
on, G. Like, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe bank robbing ain't what it was back in the day, because motherfuckers
It's all
ain't
digital.
working with cash like that. No.
It's all digital.
And that's even dangerous, because these banks are shutting down left and right. And it's like,
Well, and it's funny you say that. So started a Handmaid's Tale rewatch with someone over the last couple of days or last week or so. And like one of the first things they did when
you snitched on yourself and you ain't even know it.
It's fine. The authoritarian regime came in was like they froze bank accounts. And then people didn't have the means to get out. Like,
listen,
that's scary stuff. You're starting to, like, with the banks that are failing right now, like, that's the situation people could find themselves in.
You can guarantee if I can't access my funds to support myself, I'm looking for someone.
Right.
I don't quite know who just yet.
That's the problem, though.
Someone I'm looking for.
Yeah, no doubt.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's the problem. But you got to think of how your mind would be if you were at that point. And like I always say, it's not my job to be the judge. I don't care if you're guilty. It's just what I think about the situation.
Right.
So if you're on the board of directors or whatever the case, you may not have been, but sorry about your luck. You're associated directly with the situation that impacted me.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like, that's where I don't understand. And you and I have talked about this, or talked about it a couple of weeks ago, like the school thing.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Like, if you are old enough to think through something, to cut through something like that, or work through a plan to attack something like that, you should be old enough to realize that ain't your problem, right? Like,
I mean, I don't know.
But I'm with you. Like, that is not the target. Find another one. Go take care of one of these, I don't know, larger institutions.
What do they do with their bodies?
What do you mean?
Like the shooters, like the school shooters and all that. What do they do with their bodies?
I have no idea.
But see, you can't even cut them open and expect to see something different, right? Because our own country, powers that be, whatever you want to call them, are wicked enough that they manipulate regular old people into being over the edge.
No, and I mean, to be frank, like, I don't know. I don't know.
And that brought me to my introvert.
Okay.
Did you have something?
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say is, like, 10 years ago, I questioned how someone with, like, my background, my opportunity, etc., could be radicalized towards domestic organizations, like homegrown terrorism. Older I get, I can see it. Like, I can understand why somebody would fall into that path.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near that, but, like, I get it.
You join the Klan.
You hit a point where you feel like you have no other path and you're looking for someone else to blame. I can see how somebody falls into that.
Nah, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct.
So, but again, that comes back to being a mature, responsible adult, being able to recognize it and being able to say that that's never a path I would go down. Those are two different things. And also, but it also opens up the opportunity for, like, empathy around that kind of stuff. And that's where you're starting to get into dangerous territory. Like, and I think you and I talked about this when it came to the insurrection at the Capitol, January 6th, 2017, whatever it was. And
was it that far back?
No, because it was for
it was
the 2020.
Right, well, it was right before COVID.
It was 2021. Yeah, it was 2020.
Or was it after COVID?
It was 2020, I think.
Okay.
Or 2021.
It was 2020.
Because it was
it was 2020.
COVID. Yeah. So, but I can see where people, like, reach to that point and say, we need a change. And, like, I get it. I don't disagree. I don't think that's the way to approach it, but whatever.
I don't know. I think Trump got 2024.
I mean, that's pretty much what. So again, circling back to Handmaid's Tale, like, that's how all of that started. Was they slaughtered everybody in Congress, and an authoritarian regime took over. Like, that's how the Handmaid's Tale and how Gilead came to be. So when people say
who slaughtered them,
the religious extremists.
Okay, right. So it wasn't the people; it was the other organization.
But it could be. That could.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. If it's the people, that would be better, right? It goes back to my Israel statement, because the people have had enough. They've shown you they had enough by slaughtering everybody in Congress, according to that show.
Right.
So it makes it harder for that authoritative, whatever that word was, regime to come into place, because it's like double Dutch at that point. Like,
it is, but it isn't. It is, but it isn't. That's how Hitler took power, dude.
But Hitler didn't take power because all the Jews had already fucked shit up.
He rallied people. He became the voice of the people.
I understand what you're saying, right? But if shit's fucked up, right? And everybody, as far as like the citizens, and I don't mean everybody, but you know, the willing and the able come together and they were to go to war and successfully take out the people at the top, I guarantee the next person in line has chills down their spine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's time for me to take order, because I could be the next one on the witching post.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to do that. But if you allow someone else to come in and do it, of course they say, I replace king. I just took out who was ruling y'all. Now what y'all think I'm going to do?
Right.
Rule. That's why eventually it's going to have to come down to a civil war situation.
That's why Hunger Games is the only one that got it right, because Katniss won the games and then she slaughtered who tried to take power.
I never watched that. I never watched any of them. I swear on everything. Okay, let me be careful. I probably watched it. I probably tried to watch it at least 5 times.
Really?
Fell asleep every time.
Ooh.
Didn't get out the first half an hour, 45 minutes.
Is that the first movie?
Uh-huh.
The first one's probably like the slowest paced of all of them.
Now I have like woke up from falling asleep to the movie and said, "What the fuck am I watching?" You know, so I do see like interesting points, but
I mean, the problem was that came out at a point where there was like 6 different, young adult, post-apocalyptic, dystopian future type scenarios going on.
Right. And there's some better ones. Hold up real quick.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the Hunger Games. I think generally speaking, out of the dystopian future ones that came out at that point, I like it. I like what Jennifer Lawrence does with it. I think that the overall story is understandable and believable, and again, it comes back to where those things originate, and again, it comes back to a authoritarian regime taking power. I just kept riffing on the Hunger Games while you turned on the fan.
I liked Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Okay.
And that's another listen. It makes you question shit.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have a whole gang of motherfuckers.
Right.
So if it was the whole city, the whole state, oh yeah, motherfuckers is going to definitely curl up. You either got to curl up or you got to bring the military in, and the military has to feel comfortable enough to want to fight its citizens.
Civilians, yeah.
Right? And on top of that, you got to know that if you do take that, route, are they going to compensate?
Right. No, and I think that's... I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of folks I know that are ex-military at this point, and it doesn't seem like the level of indoctrination is high enough to convince them to turn on their own, like, brothers, their own citizens. At least not.
I don't know. I would also say that I guess that would depend on who you spoke with,
That's
but
true.
I would say it's safe to agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's be honest. You see all the YouTube and TikTok videos where they be walking around asking each other questions, and they be like, "This shit dumb as fuck." Or no, we only get so and so.
Right.
And it's like, damn, like, and I get it, because it's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It is a definite stepping stone to say you're ex-military and you weren't dishonorably discharged.
Right.
That's going to get a lot of doors open for you.
It does. It does. Because trust me, I have to answer not a veteran on every application I submit.
Listen, it's definitely going to get some doors open for you. So I understand why, but until they understand that you have to compensate your pieces.
Right.
And I say pieces because that's how they're treated as such.
Yeah.
Pieces on a board.
Well,
and the most important pieces have to be taken care of.
Right. Well, and I think at
all
this
of the pieces on the board need to be taken care of, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, you sacrifice your pawns and you protect your queens and your bishops and your rooks. No, what I was going to say was it's interesting right now in terms of U.S. military because there's a lot fewer boots on the ground, generally speaking. Like, we've pulled out of a lot of places where we had, troops on the ground,
I know what you mean.
And so, I mean, we are more than happy to have somebody fly a drone and take out an entire city block, but not as comfortable putting boots on the ground, and that requires... I'm not going to say less compensation, but at the same time, you're not having to compensate as big a number of people in the right ways for that kind of stuff. And to be frank, like I I don't know where the next scenario is that we get involved with boots on the ground unless we have someone more authoritarian in office. To your point, if like a Trump was to make it back to office in 24.
I don't know if he would be the guy to do that, though.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to give Trump peas or anything like that. Even though I have in the past. Yeah. But I'm not trying in this regard. He made his name off of like starting the process of bringing the troops back. I brought back the troops. He says all the time,
Best
I got
exit plan.
You know what
ever.
I'm saying? So it would be hard to reverse when you're riding a hype, because that's all he's doing is riding a hype right now.
Well, but I also feel like he does things with a snap judgment and just in the moment too. So I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I don't know that we have I'll call it the Team America World Police mentality that we did 20 years ago. Like, it would almost have to be a direct assault on us for us to get involved in anything at this point. Right. Because if we were the warmongering country that we used to be, we'd be involved in Russia versus Ukraine.
Period. On both sides of the shit.
Right. Playing both ends against the middle.
Right. But who's to say we're not?
I mean, that's fair. It's just not public.
Right. Who's to say we're not? Like, like, motherfuckers is mad that they gave back Brittany Griner as opposed to that, the ex-Marine reporter or whatever he was. He might not have been a Marine, but I know he had a military background, and they put him in jail for thinking he was a spy. They ain't doing that because they paranoid.
Right.
That motherfucker, I'm not saying he was, but I'm saying I'm sure they're there.
Yeah. No doubt.
If he wasn't, they just got the wrong guy.
Right.
That's all that was. That's all that was. The fuck?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know.
I don't doubt that we wouldn't already be on both sides. The motherfucker from Ukraine flew over to the United States during the war.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that we definitely on Ukraine behind the closed doors? And I'm sure Russia has some splinter cells or whatever you want to call it behind those lines too.
Right.
The question is, how close are they to the big poo-poo?
Right. Should let him know you called him that. Big poo-poo.
Big poo-poo. Big Putin. You know?
Which it reminds me of my favorite sound clip of all time.
The Mighty Red Raiders. Oh yeah, poo-poo. Fuck you.
He was talking about Putin.
And fuck everybody.
Think about that.
That is fucking bullshit.
The Red Raiders, huh?
Rest in peace.
You wasn't talking about Texas. You was talking about Russia.
Poo-poo.
R.I.P.
Oh, man.
Leonard said, no, I'm just playing. Nah, I just say that because, you know, Putin, I'm sure that motherfucker, that shit's locked.
Oh, yeah.
That shit's locked. Like, I'm sure if there was somebody in his camp, like in his direct, you know, report that was on the other side, other motherfuckers would be like, big poo-poo, we don't trust this motherfucker right here. And he would be like, poison him and his family. However, you know, they all die from poison over there.
They do.
Every one of them. It's all poison. But I mean, that's slick the easiest way to do it, right?
No doubt.
Nobody gets their hands
detectable.
dirty.
You don't know who did it. Prove it.
Right. He a bad man. He a bad man.
So the other thing with the whole timeline skipping thing is there is another trend that's going similarly on TikTok around people kind of pushing themselves into a parallel timeline. I've seen examples where they say their mother is not as domineering as she once was, or she feels like a completely different person. I've seen ones where, and it's all on the principle of manifestation, but it's trying to put a reason behind the manifestation, is that it works because you skip timelines.
No, motherfuckers.
And I'm trying to think what I need to be doing differently in order to push myself into another timeline.
Motherfuckers is crazy. That's what it comes down to. That's my conclusion, is that they fed us pills, narcotics, opioids, antipsychotics, all that, to the point that motherfuckers have lost it. Like, we have lost it. Like, we don't know where to find it. We don't know where to find it. It's gone, right? And now motherfuckers are bugging out because you didn't plan for this. Just like now, like the whole shit back before COVID, when they was talking about, why is Narcan cheaper than insulin shots? Shit like that. Because that was their COVID-19 virus, their vaccine. They didn't know what the effects were going to be of this shit. So once they saw it was getting out of hand, they was like, we need a vaccine.
Yeah.
In comes Narcan. Get it for free. We know we fucked up.
We know we introduced this and allowed this to become a problem.
You hear what I'm saying? And that's just from the realm of addiction.
Yeah.
But it's not hard for a drug or a substance to break your brain.
No.
To flip a switch in your wiring.
Well, isn't that the reason people take that
the way
stuff?
you behave, think, everything.
Isn't that why people enjoy those things anyways? Is specifically to do that? For the mind alteration?
I think no, I definitely believe. No, I feel like there's a lot of things, and I definitely, indulge myself in time or two in mind alteration. But no, it's the difference between altering your mind and breaking your brain, right?
Yeah.
Like, they all back in the 70s, it was the motherfucker that came back from the war all bugged out, and he took a LSD tab and he bugged the fuck out and was never the same.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's to the point of like I explained, the opioids, all that shit. All that shit's coming back to bite motherfuckers. And what I think it did was gradually break your brain.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else to explain how this, and if it's not breaking your brain, right, it's at the very least, passing something down to the kids that you bear.
Oh, so you think it's happening at like the genetic level?
You feel what I'm saying? There's going on. There's something going on. Because it doesn't feel normal. Like, I understand that every generation the younger generation is a bit more wild, a bit more out there. You know what I'm saying? I definitely get that. But where we're at is just weird. Like, something weird's going on. And I have no explanation for it other than we were fucked with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
And the inadvert that I was trying to get out was, we know that we're naturally programmed, right? And I think the television, the telephone, the everything programs us to be nosy.
Okay.
It programs us to want to see, right? Like, I gotta see shit. I gotta look. I gotta, like, what's going on.
Well, I think humans by nature in a lot of ways are curious.
No, I definitely agree with that. But I think there's a difference between curiosity and being nosy.
Okay.
Now, here's my thing, right? Because I thought this probably within the past few days. Might have been today or within the past few days. I can't remember exactly. But I'm using a bathroom, right?
Okay. Good start.
And right, and I'm just sitting there, and my TV was on, and I was listening to my TV. Shout out to Modern Family. I had that on Hulu. That motherfucker had me going. But
what's the plan, Phil?
I was listening to the show
while
I'm, doing my business. And you know how, like, I used to have this overwhelming urge to want to see.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could hear it, but hearing it wasn't enough for me. I got to rewind it back and see what took
I've never
place.
been like that. I've always been a multitasker. I'll have my phone on Netflix on my chest while I'm playing a video game.
Nah, I guess I've been focused. Yeah. I've always been a hyper-focused motherfucker. Like, I used to eat in order.
Oh, I do that. I'm with you there.
Like, I would eat all of one side.
My food is not allowed to touch, and I eat one thing at a time. I'm with you.
Nah, that ain't how it go no more, but I definitely used to be. And it wasn't so much the touching, it was just there was no eating the green beans and then going to the potatoes and
mac
then,
and cheese bite in
like
between.
There wasn't none of that.
I hear you. I'm still the same way.
What I'm thinking is the TV was what programs us to be nosy like that. And I feel like because most of my consumption of entertainment now is audio.
Yeah.
Because it's while I'm, working or doing something, I don't even care to see. I don't even really need to see because I guess my mind has now been trained to interpret what would be happening in physical while I'm listening to it. Right. Even if it's just a conversation and I'm thinking like, what facial expressions did he make when he said that goofy ass shit or, some like.
Well, and if you've seen it enough, you can picture it, right?
Oh, I'm sure I didn't see the episode that I'm referring to.
No, but I mean, if you know the characters or whatnot.
Right. Yeah. There we go. Now I follow.
I mean, I do that with, so again, playing, Survivor or whatever I've been playing lately. The UFC game in particular, because you don't need the sound on to play that game. Like I got.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Voyager episodes in the background.
Oh, you definitely need the sound on to play UFC. You don't need it, right? But if you don't hear the impacts and all that,
impact it is, I hear you on that.
It definitely affects your shit.
See, I'm just wild throwing overhands the whole time, so.
Yeah, I like people like you. I keep scooting back, and then wait till you throw one, and I throw one back when you can't recover, and it's a doom. He's out. Or I'll sidestep you and throw a kick to the body.
Yeah.
But it got me realizing though. So like, with all that said, which sense do you feel like you trust more? Do you feel like you trust something that you see or something that you hear?
Ooh, it depends on what it is. Like, I feel like I have long been an auditory learner. Meaning, if I hear it and hear it talked about, I can generally retain that.
Right.
I'm I see
a little different, somewhat.
But generally, if I can hear and see, I can figure it out without doing myself.
Well, yeah, that's both. But like, so I guess
but auditory is the primary.
Okay, I think I would agree. Because make no mistake, both play tricks on you.
They do.
But okay, so follow up. If you had to lose one, which one goes?
Ooh. That's a great question. I think I'd rather lose my sight.
I think I'm with you there as well. But
then I think about like, well, no, I don't like going anywhere anyway. So yeah, my sight.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there as well. But the only thing about it is all you can do from then on is listen.
Yeah. No,
Now,
I hear
sight,
you,
the issue that comes into play is communication. Or hearing,
right.
Communication, of course. You better learn how to read lips.
Right.
Because everybody's not going to know sign language.
Well, yeah, and like you still have the written word at that point, but no, I think it has to be.
I think you could game some shit up just writing shit down.
Yeah.
Just walk up and write something down.
Having had somebody show up at my door asking for money with a handwritten note, I don't know if that's true.
He was faking. He was gaming you up.
No, she was, but yeah. I'm deaf and pregnant. Bitch, you were here 9 months ago.
And you was
with the same belly. Nice try.
Maybe she had. No, I just found out that was racist too.
What?
I found out the term, and then I found out I couldn't use it in the same breath. I was about to say maybe she had Irish twins. I said, "Oh, that's what white folks call kids born in the same year."
Yep.
I'm trying to think. We called it I don't know. We just called your mama loose. I don't know.
Well, she's only loose if it's not from the same dude.
Yeah, remember. Oh no, she loose regardless, Jim.
No, man. When you come up around the Catholics,
I'm not saying
two born in the same year is not that uncommon.
I'm not saying loose is in floozy.
Gotcha.
I'm saying you are quite.
You mean
objectively loose.
Physically.
You know?
Didn't even have time to heal from the stitches.
I know it snaps back, but that's what I'm saying. If you was ready before the doctor recommended, your body's been through some shit. Just saying a UPS man might have kicked that motherfucker around a time or two. So I'm saying. I'm just playing. Sometimes I gotta entertain myself.
I mean, I get it.
Oh, shit. What we got? What we talking?
That's a great
question.
What
were we talking? Oh, my introvert.
Yeah, we shifted focus to your introvert. I'm trying to think if I had anything else to riff on with that, but I don't think I do.
Yeah, I just don't know, right? What is the purpose of this Hadron Collider?
I think the theory behind it is the generation of antimatter as a new power source. So
what is it powering?
Slamming molecule. Well, just to find a new renewable energy source. So it could theoretically power anything. If you want to go the sci-fi,
nuclear
route,
energy over using nuclear for war.
I mean, we do. There's plenty of nuclear power plants, but I'm saying they have a high risk factor to them. This was supposed to give us glimpses into like nuclear fusion, which is the way the sun generates energy. And so in theory, it would be a more renewable source of energy with less harmful side effects. Now, the flip side of that is anything like that, you do risk the rest, or you do pose the risk of blowing yourself up. Anytime you're dealing with energy and trying to find new sources of energy.
Them motherfuckers need to.
Well, and again, depending what you believe, that may have already happened, and why we're skipping timelines.
But I'm sure if it blew up, it would turn off, right?
I mean, the world may cease to exist, or it could just shift everybody to a different timeline.
Could the Hadron Collider? See, I just don't understand, right? Like, I just don't get it. It gives me real, what we call it, Jacob Icarus vibes. How the fuck do you expect to produce the sun's energy? It's a natural thing.
Let's see. The Large Hadron Collider's goal is to allow physicists to test the predictions of different theories of particle physics, including measuring the Higgs boson particle, which that's like the God particle, the Big Bang particle.
Mm-hmm. What? So...
and other unresolved questions.
So they're playing with the Big Bang particle.
Basically, yeah.
So they could quite possibly grow the Earth a tumor of itself and spin us completely out of the atmosphere.
I mean, theoretically.
And that's on a small scale, because wasn't by the theory of well, I guess that is the Big Bang theory, that particle created the universe in itself.
It is the theory. So I'm pulling it up because I don't want to misspeak too much on it. It is the fundamental,
I misspeak for both of us.
It is the fundamental particle associated with the Higgs field, a field that gives mass to other fundamental particles such as electrons and quarks. So it's the force. It's what gives everything around us.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Particles. So, interesting. Got another invert popped off of that. So, could that particle not have created the universe so much as zoomed in on a specific molecule?
So I think the bigger question there is that was it present at the Big Bang, or was it an after effect of the Big Bang?
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Like, so, like, could it been a situation where the universe was already there, or whatever the case was already there, but you zoomed in on a so I had a thought, and I guess this would have been a better invert. I had a thought the other day when, I was thinking about, just bettering myself as a whole physically, right? And I was thinking, like, just questioning, like, the food I eat and all that, right? And I was saying, like, if the shit that we talked about in the past was true, about, like, the universe, how it mimics the brain, in a sense. So I thought to myself, like, if that's what we're in, right? Like the brain of someone else, and we're just existing, then I would imagine whatever that person that put into his body would affect the molecules or us, the people in the brain, right? It made me think you can't be so quick, right, to judge people.
Yeah.
Because people may be getting fed bad shit.
Right.
Like, the cells are only as healthy as the body that it lives in.
Yep, true.
And if that body isn't healthy, then of course those cells are going to be a little whacked out.
Right.
And if those cells were people, it would make sense that we're currently whacked out.
Well,
if the motherfucker that's we're in is feeding itself.
And that's what I was just about to circle back to and bring it full circle back to something you said earlier. There's something afoot.
Right. Like, I don't know if we are, like, let's keep riding that if. But if we are inside of, like, the brain of something else, This motherfucker's depressed right now, G.
Right. It's off its axis.
Now, my next question would be, could your brain on its own change your habits without, like on some subconscious shit to the body?
Yeah.
Like if there's a way for us to change what we're doing to change the body's behaviors, then there would be hope, right? But if you can't change the body's behavior, then in a sense we are in a simulation because we're just operating off of what it's gonna do.
Right. No, and I think that makes sense. And I do think that the power of the mind over the body is something that we as a global human civilization are still figuring out. But I do think that a lot of that stuff starts with the brain, and I do think that it is possible to train it to push through those difficult periods where, whether it's a diet, whether it's addiction, whether it's X, Y, or Z,
you just
to say, no, I'm not doing this anymore, or I'm doing X instead. But I do think you need to give it some sort of like mental exercise to be able to do that.
Right. But I feel like you also just answered my question because you said if you could train the brain.
Yeah.
So that would mean that we, if we're in that brain, aren't in control. We're relying on the person who we're inside of to make the decisions for us.
There's your higher power.
But the question would then be, like I was asking, could the brain do it for you?
Yeah.
Because the brain works while you're sleeping. It works constantly. So could it be doing something inside, which would be us, meaning like if we changed our behaviors out here, would that be a direct reflection on
the universe or
right.
greater power? Yeah.
I don't know. Those are just questions.
No, I think that's a great statement. I mean,
but yeah, I just felt like if that was the case, if that what we just talked about was real, I don't want to be doing the motherfuckers on the different planets in my mind like that.
Right.
I don't want y'all to have to live crazy because of what I'm putting in my body and all that. Like,
no, I think that's it comes back to the I don't know a way to put this that isn't like Star Wars and the Force, right?
Star Wars it up.
Is that you are either adding to the cosmic balance or you're pulling it off of balance.
Right.
And there's two different philosophies on that around if you're influencing change, how do you know it's a positive change?
Right.
Versus just letting it settle into the natural course.
And I guess what I'm getting at myself, and it's similar to your question, like the higher power. Like if that was the case, if we were in the brain of someone, you would consider them the higher power.
Yeah.
And if I am the higher power to someone else living in my brain, not the best God.
Right. No, I hear you on that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. And so it's, what are you going to do differently?
Right. I'll wait till April 1st, 2024.
Now that we're out of April.
I'll wait till the Fool's Year Eve.
Fool Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, dude. Well, we're at like a hour and some change. What else you got? Anything?
Let me think. Nothing comes to mind.
All right. Well, I think.
Oh, congratulations to my, or not congratulations. What? Congratulations. We on a different timeline, and I can see the future. My baby got a cheer competition tomorrow. So
Oh,
congratulations to her on the victory.
Very nice.
You
Get
know
it,
what
little
I'm
mama.
saying? So I gotta be up at 6 a.m.
Godspeed,
get
sir.
ready to go to my mama's house, and it's down in Dayton. I don't know what the fuck bougie kind of cheer organization this is, but she done got her signed up to the motherfucking traveling cheer squad, and I'm not about it.
I hear you. Well, similar note, A-Reg had his last flag game of the season.
Did he?
Threw for a touchdown and a 2-point. And they won 6-0. So there you go.
Well, how'd he throw for a touchdown and a 2-point, and he only had 6?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right?
He only threw for the touchdown.
Oh, okay.
They tried to run it on the 2-point. I got it mixed up with another game. My fault. But yeah,
we gotta get them feet right. Now it was
a nice pass too.
That's gonna come. Them feet gonna come. I think you may have a quarterback on your head.
We'll see. Shar keeps asking me, well, what do we do to cultivate this? And I'm like,
right.
Just encourage him to
now
keep
listen,
playing.
if she listen, I remember that. Like, you know how you always played for your dad's affection. Yeah. I know your situation might have been a little different.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, that was for my dad's affection.
Right. Whatever it was.
He was not in this world anymore.
Right. It was trying to impress father. Now.
And mom. You too, mom.
No, it was more, I'm not gonna lie, it was more so father. But when mom got hyped, now we talked about a dopamine rush. That always put me on. Like, my mom I hear my mom in the stand. Oh, I'm going.
Oh, you can't not hear my mom in the stands, no matter where she is, whether it's me coaching or playing. It's not any different. So I hear you.
That was a different boost. Spike's a pretty good boost as well, but that's a different conversation.
You ain't wrong.
Oh shit. But I don't got nothing. Love everybody. Feed your solar system in your brain, man, because we don't know what this is. We could be controlling the world, and the very world that you're upset about currently, you could be creating in your own mind for the people who live in it.
And if you don't like it, just timeline jump. And with all of that, do us a favor.
Or build a hydrant in your brain.
Do us a favor, like,
and I
share.
don't mean fire.
Right. Do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell an enemy.
Tell an enemy.
Tell them to troll. And with all that, peace out.